Dolphin fans, what is going on? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and on today's video, I'm going to give you 4 reasons why Tua Tagovailoa is a dark horse MVP candidate and why this season could be a major breakout year. When Miami decided to draft Tua, number 5 overall out of Alabama, there was a lot of people, including myself, that I was like, you know what? This is a pretty exciting move. For the longest time, you heard Miami fans use the expression tank for Tua. And sure, the 2020 year was a little bit of an up and down season, no doubt about that. He showed glimpses like that Rams game where I was like, this kid could be the future. He also had a lot of games, I'll throw the one out there against the Raiders, where Ryan Fitzpatrick had to come in and save him. But the reason why I really want to be able to make this video is because there's been a lot of people ripping on him for maybe not all the most fair reasons. I've been included in that, but there's been a lot of talent put around him, and right now his MVP odds, 6,600. That's redunculous. So before I get into tell you why, let's look at some of his numbers from the 10 games that he played in last season. 64.1% completion percentage, 1,814 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Obviously, when you draft somebody in the top 5, and obviously when you draft somebody like a quarterback like Tua, you're hoping for just a little bit more. So what I want every single person that comes across this video to do is this. I want you to go ahead and like it, because if you think that Tua is going to have a breakout year, well, you're obviously really going to like the video that I'm about to put out here, but I think it also means that you have a lot of confidence in your franchise quarterback. So if y'all think that Tua's going to have a breakout year, go ahead and like the video. The first reason coming up here and why Tua will have this year is because he's fully healthy. Like, can we not really take this into account? Because let's think about it for a sec. The fact that he is fully healthy is definitely something that I want to sit here and be able to talk about, because he had a horrific hip injury where, if you guys remember, back at Alabama, dude had to literally be carted off the football field, wasn't really able to practice, wasn't able to work out, and still was able to go out and start NFL football games. That's really impressive. Here's what Tua had to say on his health this week. And this is, I think my hip feels 10 times better than it did last year. And the confidence level for myself, I feel really confident coming into the second year after the injury 2 years ago. I like being able to hear that. Now, sure, maybe 10 times is a little bit of stretch. This is always the hype season. But you know what, man? I believe it. Tua's a lot healthier. You could also see it even at the end of last year. This man was getting a lot healthier. Let's go to the second reason here why Tua's going to break out. Comfort level in the offense. Not only did Tua speak multiple things this past week about how much he's feeling a lot better, but anytime you see a young rookie coming into the NFL, they're going to take their lumps. But you really need to be able to sit there and go pen and paper and really progress to make yourself better, because that's how you take the next step in the NFL. Tua has all the talent in the world, but can he take the next step? And he said some of the right things, and I want to be able to show you some of these quotes coming up here on today's show. This is Tua on his comfort calling plays last season. I wasn't comfortable calling plays. I think the guys that we had last year were phenomenal. I just didn't have the comfortability of kind of checking plays, alerting plays, and doing that. I just rode with the play even if I knew in a way it wasn't going to work. I was going to try to make it work still. So you see some of that. I also like the ability that, guess what? He recognizes that he didn't have all these things, and he's getting better. This is what Tua had to say on how he is getting better. I'd say in every aspect. Getting to the line of scrimmage, getting the order of operation down, my cadence, pre-snap reads, my post-snap reads, just the whole shebang. Throw it in the comments with that. I felt like I wasn't comfortable doing my rookie year, so I'm working on a lot of things in year 2 to be better. One of the other reasons why we need to sit here and be like, okay, it's understandable. Not only was he a rookie, I mean, we all lived it. 2020 was a hell of a year. Can we give this man a little bit of slack? So not only was he dealing with a hip injury, not only did he not have time to work with his receivers, with his coaches, and really get used to the new city and fan base that he's working around, he also had to deal with COVID. So, we got to give this man just a little bit of slack, because 2020 was a crazy year, but I'm hoping 2021 is a breakout year. So here's the last thing I want to really be able to talk about with Tua in just terms of knowing the playbook, because one of the biggest steps for some quarterbacks is recognizing that you didn't know something, taking it as a man and be like, you know what, I'm going to put that on me, but I'm going to get better going forward. That's exactly what Tua had to say here. Actually, what I'm saying is that I didn't really actually know the playbook necessarily well. Really good. Really weird to say that, Tua. And that's no one else's fault but my fault. Our play calls were simple when I was in. I didn't have alerts and checks, whereas now, feeling more comfortable, I can kind of maneuver my way through these things. So I actually totally agree, and this is actually one of the things that I said multiple times even last year in terms of like, you could tell the offense was a lot more simplistic when Tua was in there compared to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that helped teams pick it up. So what did the Dolphins do? They got rid of Gailey, which, some people were excited about, other people weren't. But the one guy, when I made my video, hey, who's going to be the next the OC for the Dolphins, I was like, look at this guy, George Godsey. And the reason why I threw his name out there is because when Tua would come back to the huddle, or when he go back to the sideline, he would get with Godsey, who was the tight ends coach last year. All Miami has done is shown, hey, we are trying to build this football team around you with all the acquisitions they made, and especially with promoting Godsey to OC. So what are your thoughts on this, y'all? Will Tua be a top 10 quarterback after the 2021 season? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. When we did our quarterback rankings at Chat Sports, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on one of our channels there. But will Tua be a top 10 quarterback after the 2021 season? Y for yes, N for no. We had him ranked at 22, but don't be surprised if he can really, really climb up high in the rankings. The next thing coming up here is around better team chemistry. Obviously, 2020, he wasn't able to really work with a lot of these players. But one of the things that I've really liked to see Tua do was he matured a little bit, and that's going to happen in time. But for how big of a mark that he's made from in 2020 to 2021, I mean, you can see with the way that the players are looking at him. You can see with the way the players are talking about him, and even what he's saying. So this is actually what Brian Flores had to say on Tua. He's definitely more comfortable, has a better rapport with his teammates. I've seen him with better understanding of how we practice. We've seen that from him so far. So one of the things that I really liked was Tua this entire offseason, and I get it, we're only in May here. But this man was organizing team practices. He wants to be able to work with his teammates a lot more. He wants to really be able to understand, all right, how does this offensive playbook work? How does a guy like Will Fuller like to run his routes here and there? That's the stuff I like to see. In terms of being able to mature and being able to have better team chemistry, he can look now in the huddle and know that, hey, this is my football team. I loved Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he is a great professional. It's why he's able to bounce all over the football field here, or I guess I should say all over to all these other NFL teams. But let's face it, always having to look over your shoulder sometimes can be, a little bit of a pain in the you-know-what. So the fact that Ryan Fitz left Washington, the fact that Miami was like, you know what, Fitz, you did great this year, but this is Tua's team. We're going to let you go. We're going to invest everything we possibly can in Tua, and I really believe that that's one of the biggest reasons why you're seeing a lot more confidence from your quarterback. Now, do they sponsor BetUS? Head on over to chatsports.com/bet, where you guys can go ahead and get the best deposit bonus on the internet. If you want to go ahead and bet on some NBA playoff games, you can do that. If you also want to go ahead and bet on Tua Tagovailoa winning the MVP, you can do that. All you got to do is head on over to that link you see below, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Dolphins125, so if you deposit $100, you get $125 for free. I'm going to show you this one more time, these MVP odds, 6,600. What does that necessarily mean? It means if you risk $10 on Tua to win the MVP and he ends up winning it, you win $660. If you invest the $100 that you got from BetUS, you can win $6,600. All I'm saying is this. If he has the amount of talent that we think he does, and if he has the amount of firepower that I think he does, guess what? This guy could be a definite dark horse MVP candidate. The last thing we're going to bring up here on why Tua could be a breakout, it's that offensive firepower. I mean, I like Tua, and I think everyone watching right now would agree. But really the only question mark, and you can throw out the running back position, the only real question mark here is this. Like, if you had a top 10 quarterback on this Miami team, they're one of the best teams in the league. We know they have a great defense, but also I'm going to walk you through some of these depth charts because, let's face it, the offense got a lot better this offseason. Let's first off look at the offensive line. Sure, there's still some eyesores here and there, like no disrespect to Kinley, but maybe isn't the best right guard you could have. Hunt and Eichenberg, not 100% sure who's going to play right tackle. You could see it switch in and out. Austin Jackson gets another year. You got a better center in Skura. So, like, the offensive line, okay, we can agree. It got better. The running back room, it also got better. I understand that, you're hoping for Jordan Howard to improve. You're hoping for Matt Breida to show up. But as far as I'm concerned, you went out and got a good north and south running back in Malcolm Brown. You also have another year out of Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin was one of the best stories in the National Football League last year, maybe only behind a guy like James Robinson. But at the end of the day, the running back room, I think, is going to be better. Let's look at the wide receivers. This is one of the most dynamic wide receiver rooms in all of the league. You have a gigantic 6'3" Devontae Parker on the outside. You have an absolute burner down the middle of the field with Will Fuller. And oh yeah, you also have another guy, Jaylen Waddle, who might even be faster than Will Fuller that you drafted number 6 overall. Preston Williams is 6'5", and he's your wide receiver 4. You have Lynn Bowden Jr., who is a pretty good, we'll say, scat type of all-around Army jackknife. Is that the right word? I don't know. Swiss Army knife. Thank you, Producer Jeremy. You got Jakeem Grant, who's a burner. I don't know if they're going to keep Allen Hurns or if they're going to keep Albert Wilson, but you can't forget about those guys either. And then, oh yeah, as I catch my breath, the tight end position. Mike Gesicki is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the National Football League. Adam Shaheen was a former second-round pick. They just gave him a two-year extension. You got Hunter Long from Boston College. I mean, the amount of different ways that this offense is going to be able to beat you, it really comes down to Tua. So I can confidently look at you all and say, the offensive line got better, the running back room got better, the wide receiver room got better, and the tight ends are better. With all of that being said, all that means to me is this: Tua should be a lot better. And with all of those crazy equations in this mix, like we've seen quarterbacks take that step in year 2. Look at Patrick Mahomes, won the MVP in year 2. Lamar Jackson won the MVP in year 2. I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to be able to do it, but for anybody out there that says that he can't do it, shame on you. So the way I'm going to hit y'all with this video is basically I'm going to end it with this. I want you to look into your crystal ball because here at Chat Sports, I've already given my projections on this one. I know you guys are always willing to, tell me what you guys think as well. So I want you to give me your completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. I want you to try to predict what you think Tua Tagovailoa is going to be able to do. And if you also want to go out there and tell me what you think he has to do to win the MVP, I'll be looking. So before I go, this is why Tua can have this breakout year and he could be a dark horse MVP candidate. He's fully healthy. That's really where this all starts. Comfort level in the offense, year 2, and it's also his team. Better team chemistry. Already working with some of these players, and 2020 was an absolute shit show. Now he's actually going to be able to work with his teammates and the offensive firepower. It's one of the best offenses from top to bottom in the league. For those 4 reasons, Tua, dark horse MVP candidate, and I think he's going to break out.